Scott for Scots here. You ever want to grow new grass faster? Kinda like when you press the 2 times playback button on your podcast so you can speed through episodes. Except at Scott's Turf Builder Rapid Grass, you're speeding your way from a thin and damaged lawn to a thicker, stronger one in just weeks. Bit too fast, maybe slow it down, okay. Let's just go back to normal speed.
Get a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Rapid Grass today. It grows grass 2 times faster than seed alone when applied at the new lawn rate, subject to proper care.
Feed your lawn. Feed it.
This episode is sponsored by State Farm. Choices are great. Like with your podcasts, you get to choose what you want to listen to. And State Farm believes insurance should work the same way. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you get the coverage you want at an affordable price and a policy that helps cover what you value most. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com today to create your State Farm Personal Price Plan. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Purple Mafia is available on the sportstuff.com, iTunes, Stitcher, and Double Twist. Great pleasure to be back on board for yet another football season, the 10th of the history of Purple Mafia. 10th. Yeah, this is the 10th season where I'll be covering the Vikings here on Purple Mafia. 11th overall if you want to count the YouTube days of paladinolive. Wow, yeah, 10th. T-E-N. You know, like Timberwolves Entertainment Network? Yeah, sorry, I was kind of mumbling there for a second, but wow, this is the 10 frickin' year, man. So I've done it for 9 years so far. Yeah, you get the idea. We're going to talk about the roster cuts. The 53 players have been selected and all that. We'll get to the practice squad players later. We'll just talk about that in the next episode, I suppose, with the transactions and such, because I'm not going to wait any longer. We got to get this season preview out there. Finally, I came to a decision, as you'll hear in segment number 2. Segment number 2, I finally came to a decision on who's going to get to the Super Bowl, who's going to win it, of course, who's going to get to the conference finals. I was just lollygagging. I could not make up my bleeping mind for the longest time, and I finally did. So there it is. Once again, you will hear a fan in the background, and that seems to be a trend lately, not a mirage, because I need the air moving around, so please forgive me if it's making a tiny bit of background noise, particularly when you turn the volume up, you might hear it. So hope you're having a nice day. September is here. Regular season football is here. Well, it will be in a week or so. Happy Labor Day weekend. This one's not military related. It's just like, just a day to relax and chill. So hopefully you're able to do that. I love this time of year when the humidity is not up, and this year it's not, which is great. And in the past it wasn't, but the last few years it was, and it's sporadic and all that, especially with the state fair. It seems to always get humid magically around the end of August, early September, but this year not so much. Temperature went up a little bit as we head into the weekend here, but yeah, feels kind of good. Usually I talk about that at the end. I'll talk about that again maybe at the end. I don't think you need a major weather forecast right now or whatever. Well, for memory's sake, a year ago, like unofficially a year ago, because it's a different day more than likely, but in terms of Labor Day weekend, Saturday morning, literally a year ago at this stage, the Vikings traded for Sam Bradford. Cool memory. See, and on that day, I wasn't jumping on to do a season preview. I was in a hurry because I was about to head to Chicago with my wife. So that was, it was an okay couple of days there. Not too bad. Nothing spectacular, but it was fun. It was fun to see Chicago and all that and experience the subway system. So, God, I can't believe it's been a year already. But this year I get to a legitimate season preview type of show. And, of course, we're just about to talk about the cuts. Couple of kind of surprises. One major, huge surprise. And, of course, practice squad players will be named at some point in the not-too-distant future here during the next week. I got to think one or two of these guys, maybe even more than that, will be added to that practice squad, including the German wide receiver Morris Boehringer. Just like last year, he was cut and then signed to the practice squad. So I wouldn't be surprised if that took place again. But I guess we'll see. There it is. Sam Bradford a year ago. Kind of cool. So let's get to the point here. Willie Beavers cut. we'll see if he winds up on the practice squad again, just like last year. That was kind of funny. In fact, I think he was not even on the practice squad for a while there. The Vikings just kind of said, screw him, basically, but then the injuries started mounting, and good old Willie Beavers, Billy Weavers, Millie Weavers, whatever, you get the idea, Millie Weavers. InfoWars, yep, see, now that's going to keep popping up. Moritz Bullringer, Alex Boone. Yes, Alex Boone. Well, Alex Boone, yeah, he went from starter to cut. And yes, this happens sometimes. It's a fairly expensive contract, so Vikings moving on there. But there is $3 million of dead cap hit on the Minnesota Vikings this season. Unfortunately, it just is what it is at this stage. We'll also talk about the roster spots in a second that were won. Some of them semi-surprises, some of them kind of interesting, but you get the idea. But yeah, Alex Boone is gone. They cited his durability concerns. He was just starting to get hurt a lot here, so they were a bit concerned about that. I don't know, though, but ultimately he didn't seem to live up to the hype of what we thought he was. He's just, he was the anti-Dennis Green. He's not what we thought he was, so very disappointing there. Defensive tackle Dylan Bradley, cornerback Sam Brown, tight end Kyle Carter. A lot of people thought he was going to make the team, and that Bucky Rogers was going to end up going to the Bucky Hodges. Yeah, Bucky Hodges. I don't know why I said Rogers. Just came out wrong. Bucky Hodges was going to go to the practice squad, but I think the Vikings may have thought that he's kind of, even though he doesn't even block, which is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. You got to block if you're a tight end, just like Adrian Peterson not blocking and all that, and other players that didn't make it to the NFL when people thought they were being targeted for certain reasons when they refused to play special teams and you're drafted in the 6th round. Well, of course, there's a good chance you might get cut. For those of you that were offended that Michael Sam got cut from the Rams, that's what happened. If you refuse to play special teams, it is what it is. But no, Kyle Carter, the Vikings were afraid that trying to put Bucky Hodges on the practice squad may have been plucked there. So Bucky Hodges will be on the 53, at least at this stage. Kyle Carter, maybe he'll be the one who'll go to the practice squad, and we'll see what happens from there. Love this name, defensive tackle Chunky Clements. He won't make it, unfortunately. T.J. Clemmings, there's another notable. T.J. Clemmings, cut. We'll see. Maybe he'll wind up on the practice squad. I don't know, but a lot of us very unhappy with his play so far. A major disappointment back-to-back years, 2015 and 2016. Offensive lineman taken by Rick Spielman, that guy should be on the hot seat. That's for damn sure. Linebacker, Nor Davis. Let's keep moving. Tackle, Reed Frago, did not make it. Isaac Frischetti, who has Minnesota connections, of course. Wide receiver, cut. Taylor Heineke, cut. Now, he was the hero of game number 3 at the end there. That was a lot of fun. The Vikings ended up winning that game. Taylor Heineke with just a gut-wrenching drive at the end of the game. Real gutty, really hanging in there. But I don't know. He has injury issues, but hopefully the Vikings can get him on the practice squad. Right now, only 2 active quarterbacks on the roster, which makes you wonder. Some people are fearing that old paper neck might come here. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know if they want to bring him in or they do, they don't. Let's try not to give him the platform if we're so ticked off at it, which I'm annoyed with what happens, but maybe we don't need to give him the platform, and then they won't get as much attention for it. I guess we'll just leave that as is. Running back Bronson Hill, who ended up replacing Sankey, the other running back, notorious ACL, Bishop Sankey. Unfortunately for him, Bronson Hill, I had a feeling he was probably going to end up getting cut anyway, so that sucks for him, unfortunately. I don't feel happy about anybody getting cut. TJ Clemmings, you know what? He was very frustrating last year, but I'm not celebrating anybody getting cut. It sucks. I mean, getting cut sucks. So unless the guy was the biggest jackass ever, which I don't believe that. So truly doubt it. Alex Boone wasn't a jackass. He's just kind of fun. Zach Karen, who was kind of valuable last year, but he wasn't anything special, but he filled in when he needed to. He's gone. Marshall Cohen, who had that quirky kick there in game number 3 from way out. It was like a knuckleball meets screwball meets curveball. I don't know what the hell it was. It went in, and then he missed the 57-yarder indoors. So, ouch. That's just Blair Walsh again. A leg that could kick a ball over a mountain, but, can't hit the broadside of a barn sometimes. So, yeah, I don't know. That was the problem. So, I'm happy with Kai Forbath. Very happy with Kai Forbath. Just make the damn kicks. That's all there is to it. If you have the biggest leg ever or not so much, as long as the kick goes through the uprights, that's what matters most, right? So, it is what it is. Linebacker Elijah Lee cut, but again, late round pick, so don't be surprised if the Vikings hopefully can get him on the special teams there. Mitch Leidner brought in to help out due to the injury concerns back and forth. Mitch Leidner, the former Gopher, Mr. All Over the Place, he was brought in and got to play in the fourth game, and he was okay, but he had some Mitch Leidner moments where he looks real good, and then he just like, what the bleep did he just do? He's also been cut, and we'll see what happens from there. Sam McCaskill, defensive end, gone. Terrell Newby, who I thought was okay, gone. Another draft pick. What the bleep, man? Ifadi Odenigbo, gone, at least right now, but again, special teams. I keep calling it special teams. Practice squad. What the bleep? What the heck? Pardon me. Practice squad. I think he's going to wind up there. Jabari Price. He was okay. He was a late-round pick. Was it last year or 2 years ago? Maybe practice squad, maybe not. Maybe he'll get scooped up by somebody else, and the chances of that are probably pretty good because there's some names out there. Alex Boone's going to get scooped up, I got to think. TJ Clemmings is going to get scooped up, I got to think. He is, because somebody out there is going to be desperate to scoop him up. Zach Carrion, same thing. They'll at least wind up on someone's practice squad, I got to believe. It's very possible. Josiah Price, the other Price there. The price was not right in this case for him, unfortunately. Tight end, gone. Cornerbacks, Horace Richardson and Trey Roberson on their way out at this stage. Linebacker, Edmund Robinson. A special teams linebacker the last couple of years. At least last year. He's unfortunately on his way out at this point. We'll see what happens. Austin Shepard and R.J. Shelton. He's been put on the... Which one was it? There's a couple of different ones here. Where is he? Well, he was put on the injured reserve, but not showing him on here for some reason. Dayton Jones also placed an injured reserve. That very unfortunate. Nice rotational defensive lineman brought in, and now he's on injured reserve. So, that stinks. Again, that's R.J. Shelton as well. So the Vikings must have seen something in him that they like. And we'll be talking about the receivers a bit here for a while. It's kind of exciting, actually. Will Sutton, the former Bear, he's gone. So he did not make it. That's unfortunate there. Taylor Semenk did not make it, the punter. So unfortunately for him, he's not on board. Jack Tocho on his way out also. 7th round pick. Again, practice squad. Most likely. I think the Vikings will keep him. I mean, why not? That's what happens when you have all these 7th rounders. I had a feeling they were going to get, this is going to be the situation. They'd wind up on the practice squad, hopefully for their sake. Nick Truesdell and Freddie Tagola on their way out as well. Nick Truesdell was a tight end. Freddie Tagola was a guard. So those two guys not too well known and unfortunately on their way out. But Tocho, how can you not forget that? how can you forget that name? That's a fun one. So let's get going. Quarterbacks Sam Bradford and Case Keenum. Obviously, both of them have been on the St. Louis Rams in the past. Bradford, well, he's the starter. We all know that, and this is his chance to get a nice long-term deal with the Vikings or somewhere else. We'll see what happens with Sam Bradford this year. I'm encouraged. I'm optimistic. I hope the offensive line is better. You're going to be seeing... See, the debate was Pat Elflein or Nick Easton. Pat Elflein or Nick Easton. Well, Pat Elflein and Nick Easton. That's right. They'll both be starting on the offensive line now because... that guard position is on its way out. You always thought it was going to be Berger, that he wouldn't necessarily get cut, but he'd retire eventually, and then you pair him with Alex Boone on the other side of the center there. But unfortunately, the center being, is it Elflein or Nick Easton, the decision there will be made. Kind of back and forth in Elflein and Easton. Right now, it looks like Easton is the center, but I don't know. It should be Elflein long term, and Easton will be a guard. And that's nice. He'll be a versatile guard there. Running backs, Delvin Cook, Latavius Murray, and Jerick McKinnon. No surprise there. You got Delvin Cook, the overall star. You got the Thunder in Latavius Murray, and the Lightning in Jerick McKinnon. So, cool. Very awesome. And then C.J. Ham has been kept on board to be the fullback, and he's a good fullback. Nice blocking, powerful, ham on rye. Okay, you get the idea. Ham and eggs, ham and rye, whatever you want to say. Fullback for the Vikings. Happy for C.J. Ham that he was able to stick on board. 6 wide receivers were kept, and that's not a surprise, especially with Michael Floyd on suspension right now. 4-game suspension for the substance abuse, alcohol situation there going on in the kombucha tea. That is not related to it. Luckily, that didn't extend his potential suspension there. So he's out for 4 games, and then a decision will be made between, well, it'll probably be Jarius Wright on his way out. Don't be surprised. I like him, but he's pretty much, I don't know. Unfortunately, his role is reduced to a point of it kind of is what it is, especially when you have a guy like Adam Thielen playing a similar role and doing it really well. Laquan Treadwell, well, at least he caught a pass and looked okay during the... at least he looked visible this preseason when he was finally healthy for a couple of seconds. Thank God, like near the end there in that third game of the preseason. Looked okay. We're hopeful. Rodney Adams and Stacey Coley. Adams looked a lot better in that third game of the preseason than he did in the first two. Stacey Coley continuing to be, he's not perfect. Neither one of those two guys are perfect. They drop passes, but Coley overall the better player so far. I like Stacey Coley an awful lot. Again, he would be a kickoff returner if he winds up on there because he's not the shifty guy. He's a straight line guy. Adams could kind of be both, but of course Marcus Sherrills, that's his role right now. But also Jerick McKinnon proved he could be an option as a kick returner as he returned. he returned one to the house. Jerick McKinnon, especially with his reduced role at the running back position, why not? That's a way you could stick on this team, still make millions of dollars, and be a very valuable piece. Jerick McKinnon, he will be an option on kick returns, and I applauded wholeheartedly because I think he's damn good at it. He did a great job. We're set. We don't have to worry about Cordell Patterson going to the Oaktown Raiders. We'll be talking about them very soon. Next segment. We'll be talking about the Raiders. We'll be talking about Chucky's clubs, Chucky's football teams. Yeah, it's the Chucky Bowl of 2002. Yes, sir. Remember the Chucky Bowl of 2002? We're going to be talking about both of his clubs. Mm-hmm. Chucky. You know who Chucky is? Huh? Do you remember who that is? John Gruden, right? Looks just like Chucky, especially back then. Coach of the Raiders, coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then they played each other in the Super Bowl, and Chucky was on the winning side because he went to Tampa. Old Chucky, yep. Tight ends Kyle Rudolph, David Morgan, Mr. Solid, and Bucky Hodges, Mr. Goliath, who needs to block some people. Kyle Rudolph will need to hang on to some more passes so he could be a legend in this league. It'd be nice to see that happen. Hang on to a couple more of those damn passes, Kyle, and you're going to be like a 10-time Pro Bowler. If not, you're just going to be a well above average tight end that doesn't catch that doesn't catch simple passes sometimes, and it drives you nuts. Offensive line, Riley Reef, he better be up to it. Nick Easton is probably going to be left guard, in place of Alex Boone, who's no longer with the Vikings. Pat Elflein in the center, Joe Berger the right guard, Mike Remmers the right tackle, Avante Collins, Rashad Hill, who looked really good, or at least adequate in the preseason. Danny Isadora, who's got starter written all over him long-term as a guard. At some point, that's probably Joe Berger's replacement, and that might be why the Minnesota Vikings were willing to move on Alex Boone, along with the frustrations and such. It could be Danny Isadora, who is actually the real reason there, and Jeremiah Searles, who's just good enough, I guess, to be in the NFL. And you know what? Props out to Jeremiah Searles. Just keep him in his role, unfortunately for him. He's going to have to keep that limited role. You don't want to see him getting major snaps out there. Defensive line, one of the best in football. Everson Griffin, Mr. 15 sacks or whatever he's going to get. Double digits. Linval Joseph, a truck in the middle there. Tom Johnson, Mr. Reliable. Daniil Hunter, Mr. Superstar, Mr. Game Changer. These guys all have an identity. Brian Robinson, Mr. Quickness, Mr. Energy. Stephen Weatherly, solid. Tayshawn Bauer, all right. Definitely, at least made something of himself out there. Jaleel Johnson. Everybody likes Jaleel Johnson, including me. Really liked what he brought in the preseason, showing that energy, showing that talent. He gets in there, boy. He gets in that backfield, and he does a hell of a job. And Shamar Stephan, another reliable guy out there. I love Tom Johnson, by the way. Just a reliable veteran. How can you not love that guy? If somebody's hurt, you're not going to miss too much of a beat with Tom Johnson in there. But at the moment, he might be, he's going to be starting right now anyway, because Sharif Floyd doesn't exist, unfortunately, at this stage because of very unfortunate nerve damage in the knee there. That's not good. Linebackers, well, they were kind of, Edwin Robinson was okay, and that's too bad. And, of course, Elijah Lee, both of them gone. That leaves you with Anthony Barr, Eric Kendricks, the two UCLA studs, Kentrell Brothers, the best draft pick in 2016 so far. He was the best player in that draft so far, a fifth-round pick. Ben Gideon, fifth-round pick this year out of Michigan. Solid, very solid. You saw some good things out of him. Emmanuel Lamour and Eric Wilson will be special teams linebackers going into the season, and good luck to them as they continue to hang on to the National Football League and play on Sundays. They've got to put on that purple jersey, the horned helmet, and play on Sundays. That's wonderful. Wonderful jump for their career there. Defensive backs. Well, you got two guys who are more of shoo-ins and all that good stuff. Xavier Rhodes is going to be a 10-time Pro Bowler, one of the great cornerbacks in Vikings history. I got to think. There's no doubt about it anymore. I mean, he finished second. Was it second place last year? Third place last year in my MVP awards. Other people gave him number one. I finished him with third because, Daniil Hunter and Linval Joseph were number one for me. Notice they were all defensive players. And then Adam Thielen was right next there because Stephon Diggs got hurt too much last year, off and on. Trey Waynes is the kind of guy who's got, it's like hit and miss with the guy. 1 minute, he's getting a game-changing interception. The next minute, he's getting burned. And then he goes from getting burned and he makes a game-changing knockdown. He bats down the pass deflection. Just big-time play. Just a, huge play. Now gets his hand in there at the last minute, knocks it away. Trey Waynes is the kind of guy, if he could just, I don't know if it's a lack of focus or he's just raw still or what the hell is, but it's time to put up or shut up for Trey Waynes. This is it. And he has shown flashes that he could be one of the really good cornerbacks out there. Cornerbacks. Not as good as Xavier Rhodes, but the next best thing, at least on this roster, I got to think. It's there. The talent is there. Terrence Newman, ancient history, older than me. He's older than me. That's old. Damn it. I'm 38, and he's older than me. He's born in 78, man. I mean, he's one of the few guys left from the 1970s. And, I'm one of the 70s babies at the end of the 70s, but you get the idea. 79 are here. Terrence Newman, well, I mean, still ever so valuable, and we appreciate him very much. He's going to see snaps because Mackenzie Alexander is driving people crazy. Let's get to Harrison Smith first. Again, a guy who drove us crazy. Later last season, started out really well. I talk about that some more in the second segment, if I remember correctly. Andrew Sendejo, as I'm piecing things together here because of cuts and all that. I wanted to get the season preview part done, so that's how that was. Andrew Sendejo, one of those guys who he's reliable enough. Everybody wants to cut him, and then you know what? He makes plays, and then he sticks around, and he's still in the NFL today. He's still a starting safety in the NFL, so good on Andrew Sendejo. He even takes his date to McDonald's on Valentine's Day, so it is what it is there. His wife there to McDonald's on Valentine's Day, so he's kind of Mr. Everything, isn't he? It is what it is. Mackenzie Alexander, I was so excited when he got brought in here in the draft in the second round. Remember how about a year and a half ago, I was glowing about Mackenzie Alexander in the pre-draft show about how cool it would be if the Vikings were able to get him. Then we do get him. I couldn't believe it. And then, I don't know, not so much. Not so much. Last year he looked lost. This year, the opportunity knocks because Captain Munnerlin's gone. As we talk about, Captain Munnerlin's on his way out when I do the season preview. We'll talk about that some more as well. And that's why Mackenzie Alexander has his role. And here you sit, hoping for the guy to step up. He shows moments here and there, but overall not so much. Then he makes one play. He makes a play against the Miami Dolphins. And the fact that he's out there in the fourth game of the preseason, it tells you that can't be good. And that can't be good that he's out there in the fourth game of the preseason when he's supposed to be a starter. Starters aren't supposed to play in the fourth game. So obviously something's getting questioned about Mackenzie Alexander, pardon me. And then when he makes a play, he taunts the player, and Miami Dolphins get first and goal. Like, way to go, Mackenzie. Way to go. Just great. Tremaine Brock has been brought in, former San Francisco 49er, former Seattle Seahawk. Character issues in his past, but when he's good, he's good. And the Vikings give up a 7th-round pick to get him. Congratulations, Tremaine Brock. And there you go. Don't be surprised to see him replace Mackenzie Alexander in the starting lineup, which is pretty crazy to think about at the last second here. But this isn't the first time. This type of thing has happened in the NFL. As I continue to try not to cough to death, pardon me, Marcus Sherrill's brought in as a punt returner. Of course, we all know that. He is a cornerback when he's actually out there playing regular snaps. Anton Exum Jr., he still made the team. I thought he was as good as gone, but he's still here. Go figure, because I guess Jack Tocho couldn't beat him out. I guess Anton Exum Jr. still on the roster. Anthony Harris, I thought he was pretty good when he had to be out there replacing Harrison Smith. I liked him. And J-Ron Kurtz, same thing. He's solid. Those two guys are okay. It's not like you don't miss a beat when Harrison Smith is out there, but hey, at least you see something out of these two guys, and they deserve to be here. Kai Forbath is the kicker. Ryan Quigley is the punter. Congratulations to both of those veterans, NFL veterans. They were able to stick to this club Ryan Quigley, the former Arizona Cardinal, and Kai Forbath has kind of traveled all over the place with the Saints and such, and I'm happy to have him. I believe Cincinnati as well. Happy to have Kai Forbath in the mix. He's a very accurate kicker. He did a good job for us last year. Kickers can be a dime a dozen sometimes, and if he falters, it does show that you can pick up a fairly reliable kicker off the streets. I mean, there are guys out there that can get the job done. Kevin McDermott is the Mike Morris, the long snapper, and there you go. He's sticking on board like he has over the years. I mean, to think about how many long snappers we've had since I've been watching the Vikings, and I've been watching them since '92. That's insane. Mike Morris, Cullen Loeffler, and then this guy right here, McDermott. I mean, my goodness gracious, that's not many. Whew. I mean, Morris had it forever. Cullen had it even longer. And now McDermott, Kevin McDermott, because they're reliable guys. You keep them and you don't let go and you hope they don't get hurt ever, that type of thing. Some kind of freak injury. So always very important there. That's your lineup. Those are your cuts. Those are this and that. That's a lot of transactions, a lot of guys making the roster. You have a lot of hope coming into this one. Well, I mean, the offensive line, very key here. I think it's better than last year. And this move with Alex Boone is very interesting. You saw it getting experimented on in that third game, as you saw the frustration with Alex Boone, and then of course you saw braces on his knee and such in the in the practices. So, and him missing practices, it was a sign that things weren't going so well, and the coaches were getting frustrated as well with it. It's not because they disliked Alex Boone; it's just that physically they were concerned. And then when he's out there, he just didn't look real good. So. I mean, that's the harsh reality of the NFL. You're there one day, gone the next. Luckily, he got some guaranteed money out of it, and obviously he played all of last year. It was a pretty lucrative contract. So, but again, NFL contracts don't mean as much as they do in other leagues. That's why Mike Remmers better step it up in a quick hurry, because that big fat contract he signed this year, this last late winter, early spring, may or may not mean a whole lot in a year from now if Mike Remmers doesn't step up, because he's looked like garbage thus far. Riley Reif, same thing. If injury concerns continue to be a problem, Riley Reif won't be here next year either, and we'll be right back on the market again, signing tackles or something, because we're sure as hell not drafting them, are we? It just leaves you sitting here wondering, I mean, really? Well, we'll just have to sit and wait. Rashad Hill, Avante Collins. Who? Yeah, well, that just kind of is what it is there, isn't it? Lord. Should I very briefly preview the Saints and Vikings game? See, the thing is, when there's no sample size coming in, see, I'm not going to dedicate a segment to it. I dedicated a segment to previewing the upcoming season in general, the Vikings, the NFC North, and of course the oncoming conference finals and all that, and what teams are going to make it, this and that, and on to the Super Bowl in downtown Minneapolis, all that good stuff. Yeah. But it's hard to get a sample size going in. I think the Vikings should win the game. It helps that they're at home. Adrian Peterson and Drew Brees, all that. But you have other running backs over there, too, in New Orleans, like Tatum and such. Boy, the Vikings should beat the Saints. I mean, they're better than them. And I don't know. I mean, I don't like the way the Vikings played in the preseason. But, again, it's the sample size. It's hard to gauge. If this was in New Orleans, the Vikings rarely win there. And, of course, Drew Brees. And, Drew Brees is a problem for the Vikings, obviously, with the secondary not playing so well. I'd feel less confident if the Vikings were in New Orleans than at home. I just get this strong vibe that this team will show up to play in their season opener. You're going to see something a little bit better. It's not going to be a pretty game. I'm picking Vikings 27-24 at this stage. Believe it or not, the Vikings are going to score 27 points, perhaps on some type of a turnover, like defense doing it, or special teams, kick return. I think the Vikings will have a kick return touchdown, believe it or not. Maybe it's McKinnon on one of the kickoffs, that's who I think it's going to be, actually. I think McKinnon's going to make a name for himself as a kick returner. I can just feel it. But also, I think Cook is going to shine really, really bright in that game. I feel very confident in that. Bradford also against the Saints defense that hasn't been good for forever. Bradford's going to have one of his better games of the season starting out. It's going to be a momentum type of thing. It's going to be a heavy motivation to get things off to a good start. And that's the feeling I have coming into this game with Sam Bradford and the Vikings in general. he's going to be running for his life out there at times, but you saw a little bit of mobility from him in the third game of the preseason. And, of course, the offensive weapons that he does have to throw the ball to. I mean, Kyle Rudolph can catch. Maybe Bucky Hodges gets a little bit of action. I'm thinking probably not much. Kyle Rudolph and David Morgan will get we'll get most, if not all of it, at the tight end position. Laquan Treadwell will catch his first pass in the first game of the preseason this year. We won't have to wait till God knows when, like last year, and he only caught one pass all year. I think Treadwell will catch one or two passes in the game. Ultimately, though, it's all about Diggs and Thielen. I think Thielen's actually is going to have a little bit of brighter shine in this one. Don't be surprised if they Stacey Coley get involved in something out there. Adrian Peterson is going to, I don't know what to think. I wouldn't be surprised if he fumbled in the game, to be quite honest, especially against this defensive line of the Vikings. He's going to have a hell of a time against this defensive line. So I'm not, it's like 1 minute you think Adrian, he's going to be all jerked up and he's going to get 100 and, I don't know if that's might not be he's going to be all jacked up, pardon me, and he's going to get over 100 yards in the game. I don't think so. I think the Vikings defensive line is too good for that. I think it's more likely he's going to fumble in the game. He'll have some moments. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like he's going to get 12 yards on 12 carries. It's not going to be anything like that, like a yard in a cloud of dust. But at the same time, I'm not confident in Adrian Peterson going out there and tearing it up and getting 120 yards and 3 touchdowns or something. It's going to be more the likes of 50 to 60 yards. Maybe he'll get in once at the goal line, should the Saints be in that position, and they probably will get there at some point, I got to think. 27-24 is my ultimate finish. I think the Vikings offense will be slightly better, and you'll see a special teams touchdown in the game. Of course, the undoing for the Vikings is the secondary. Not the defensive line against Adrian Peterson, but the secondary against Drew Brees. That's the way the Vikings would lose the football game, but I think we'll be just good enough to start the season off 1-0, and we go from there, in my humble opinion. Minnesota 27, Saints 24 in the season opener in U.S. Bank Stadium. Now let's get to that doggone season preview. And we are back here on Purple Mafia, segment number 2. This is the preview segment. Of course, we are going to preview the upcoming NFC North and all that. We're going to talk about how teams are going to finish. We're not going to go ape crap into detail, but we're going to talk about additions, subtractions, all that. Get my vibe as to how things are going to go, and then we are going to do the annual deal with the conference finalists, Super Bowl finalists, all that. Teams most likely to succeed and flop, all that. So stuff like that. It's a fluid situation because you just never know. I mean, every season is so doggone different. So let's get started here. Start with the team that more than likely is going to finish in last place, and I like them more than the Lions and the Packers, but that would be the Bears, the Chicago Bears. I like the whole Saturday Night Live bit. I like the history. I like Walter Payton, even Jim McMahon with the sunglasses. That was cool. Unfortunately, his sunglasses were required due to, kind of a situation going on with his eyes, a la Coach Sperano of the Minnesota Vikings, offensive line coach. So let's get going. Significant additions. We're going to cite some of this information from Sports Illustrated. It uses the cheat sheet, all that. Have it all in front of you. Mike Glennon, of course, added through free agency. Trubisky in the trade up with Cincy. No, not Cincy. The trade up along the way with San Francisco. I'm going crazy. Second overall pick, Mitchell Trubisky, who eventually will be the quarterback of the long-term future. The quarterback of the present is Michael Glennon, cornerback Prince Amukamara, Marcus Whedon, a wide receiver, tight end Deion Sims, wide receiver Kendall Wright, and free agent safety Quinton Demps. Their losses were Alshon Jeffrey, ouch, Jay Cutler to eventually the Miami Dolphins, we thought retiring. Tracy Porter, defensive back. Eddie Royal, the former Denver Bronco. Brian Hoyer off to San Francisco, who tore the Vikings up a bit. That was fun, just real fun. And defensive lineman Cornelius Washington, all familiar names, all on their way elsewhere or off to the old NFL shield in the sky. Chicago Bears, I do anticipate an improved record. I don't anticipate a great record. I'm thinking 5-11 for the Chicago Bears, 4th place in the NFC North. I keep wanting to say Central, even though that's like a long time ago already that we made that change. You know, I like the Bears' future, but obviously it's early, very, very early. It would be like the 2014 Vikings at best. That would be 8-8. I don't think they're in position to do that, though. Remember how the Vikings were starting over from a 3-13 season. Chicago Bears doing a similar situation, but even less pieces to work with. As much as we hate Rick Spielman, at least he, as much as we dislike or hate or some of the draft picks for Rick Spielman, he has made some good picks, of course, like Xavier Rhodes and others that did help get this team going in the right direction. Though I do consider Rick Spielman on the hottest of hot seats in terms of the Minnesota Vikings situation between him and him being Spielman and head coach Mike Zimmer at this stage. Chicago Bears, I mean, Fox, is he on the hot seat? Should he be on the hot seat? I don't know. You're just kind of like sitting there waiting and with that situation with the Bears. They're not at any point they can get all too greedy. I mean, beggars can't be choosers at this point with the Chicago Bears, with the way things are going. And that's not a shot at Dylan's or others out there who like the Chicago Bears. Dylan's Chicago Bears. Hopefully trying not to cough to death here. I don't know, this up and down weather isn't helping anybody's case, I got to tell you. That's for damn sure. The Bears, though, for me, 5-11. I don't have a whole lot to say about them at this stage. I'd like to see them get better just because it's a fun rivalry with the Vikings. And, of course, anybody that hates the Packers as much as Bears fans do, they don't, you know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So I kind of look at it that way with the Bears at the end of the day because I hate the Packers more. The Detroit Lions, who had a wonderful run last year at times, and then, of course, lost in the postseason for the 99th straight time. They haven't won a playoff game since 91. So those of us here in Minnesota that are frustrated about losing playoff games, this and that, look at Detroit. They haven't done jack bleep since forever. They got to the NFC title game back in 91 and were walloped by the Washington Redskins, who then went to the Metrodome. The last time the Super Bowl was in downtown Minneapolis is, of course, this is the year that it will be once again. The Detroit Lions almost wound up there, but of course, again, Washington Redskins were ready for them, as good as Detroit was back in those days, for a short stretch. 9-7 last season, and they pissed us off just hardcore last year. Of course, Jay Cutler tore up the Vikings as well during the course of last season. Matthew Stafford, every time you thought the Vikings were going to bring him down, be it the Thanksgiving game or the earlier one, they just couldn't bring him down. I mean, just bring him down, and it's over. The game's over. And the Vikings couldn't bring him down, and they just couldn't bring him down, be it Anthony Barr or Eric Kendricks or Linval Joseph, God knows, whoever it was, Harrison Smith. It just went on and on and on. Just bring the guy down, and the game's freaking over, and the game wasn't freaking over. So let's just keep moving. TJ Lang, the guard, Vikings were trying to get him at one point. Former guard of the Green Bay Packers, off to Detroit. Linebacker Paul Warrillow, Jared Davis in the draft, in the first round of the draft. Cornelius Washington from Chicago to Detroit. DJ Hayden off to the Detroit Lions. Rick Wagner, Akeem Spence, defensive tackle. Losses, DeAndre Levy, Anquin Bolden, who I'd love to see in a Vikings uniform. Larry Warford, and tackle Riley Reef, who went to the Minnesota Vikings. So a little interdivisional stuff going on with Detroit. They lost, again, they lost Reef to Minnesota, but of course got Green Bay's Lang and Cornelius Washington, defensive end from the Bears, going to the Detroit Lions. I have no idea what's going to happen with the Detroit Lions. I mean, they have the talent to be good. They have the talent to do this, then that. Obviously, their head coach, he's an offensive coach. They have some good defensive players. Their offense is spectacular when it actually lives up to the potential. The pressure was off Matthew Stafford last year with Megatron out of the way. As crazy as that freaking sounds, the pressure was off him. I mean, when you have Megatron there, there's no excuse for you to not be one of the three best offenses in the NFL, or so you'd like to believe, maybe top five. And sometimes they were good and sometimes they weren't. I remember a couple of years ago they had that excellent season, and they could not get past the Green Bay Slackers, and that was extremely frustrating for them, I'm sure. Or was it the Cowboys? The Cowboys, pardon me. That was the Cowboys they ran into. A good Cowboys team, a good Detroit team, and it just things did not work out for the Lions. And then it's just an ongoing situation for Detroit. They made things interesting last year in the playoffs, could not get anywhere once again. What's going to happen with the Lions? Are they going to be 8-8? It's between Minnesota and Detroit getting to the playoffs this year. if the offensive line protection is a little bit better for the Vikings, I think the Vikings should make the playoffs over the Detroit Lions. Right now, I'm going to go with 8-8, 9-7-ish for the Detroit Lions. The Bears, I'm sticking with 5-11. 5-11 for the Bears, fourth place. Detroit, I think they're going to be third. I mean, this is not a solid thing, even though on radio you kind of want a little more black and white, a little more of a gavel. But I will put the gavel on Detroit as third place. I think the Vikings will be slightly better than Detroit, at least in good faith. I'd like the Vikings to be better than Detroit. It might sound crazy to a lot of you out there, but I don't know. You want to try to be optimistic, I would hope. Matthew Stafford's capable of throwing 5,000 yards. But again, Detroit, they're just they're just lovable losers, you could say. I mean, there's a lot of teams in the NFL you could call that, but Detroit has been that way forever. I mean, every time you think, here come the Lions, down they go. Anytime you raise expectations on the Lions, down they go. Like they came off that 11-5 season, and down they went years ago. And here we go again with Detroit last year, a solid run. I mean, they made the playoffs kind of in miracle fashion last year, tried to make things interesting with Dallas and could not get it done at the end of the day. So that was the end of that. And I keep getting it mixed up with the game a couple of years ago. That's my fault. God, I'm going crazy with these last couple of years here with Detroit. They're kind of in, they're kind of out. They couldn't have played the Cowboys last year, obviously, because the Cowboys had the first round bye. So my apologies of that. But ongoing frustration. You'd rather see Detroit win than say a Dallas or a Green Bay. But that's kind of how things go. 8-8 or 9-7 with Detroit. Maybe they make the wild card. Maybe they don't. But they will finish in third place behind Minnesota. Green Bay is going to win the division. Let's just get back to that. I'm not happy about it. I don't want them to win it. It's not going to be a spectacular season for Green Bay. I don't think so. I mean, they were only 10-6 last year. They did add Martellus Bennett. Yeah, that's a pretty significant addition. Kevin King in the draft. That's significant. Hoping for the best for them anyway, for their sake. I'm not really hoping for much for them. That's for sure. Ricky Frankowskis and Jahari Evans, a guard, to help replace T.J. Lang there in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Oh, goody. Lambeau Field, they lost Jared Cook. That's and then T.J. Lang, of course, to Detroit. Trottier, offensive lineman. Julius Peppers going back to Carolina to probably wrap up his career. And James Starks on his way out as well. He was cut. Eddie Lacy to Seattle, and Sam Shields on his way out as well. He's putting up the shield defensively there in the secondary elsewhere. So Green Bay, they've lost more than they've gained, but they're still the Packers. They're still the favorites in the division, as much as I hate to say it. Can the Vikings win the division? Yes. Can the Detroit Lions win the division? Yes. That's the thing. It's kind of bounce of the ball. NFL is crazy. You never know. One of these teams might go 12-4 just because maybe it's just their year. Like bounce of the ball, like I said. Like that stupid 39 seconds left on the clock, and Matthew Stafford managed to march down the field and lead the Lions to a victory, which is just drove us all insane. Just of course, of course there was going to be enough time for Matthew Stafford to get it done, despite there being no timeouts and the Vikings choking that away. It's stuff like that separates your team from being 11-5, 12-4 to being 8-8. I mean, because you're going to have multiple games like that where you're just like, really, we lost? And that's what's going to separate Green Bay, Minnesota, and Detroit this season. It's like I have a headache even thinking about it. I'm trying not to get a headache because that's a word. You don't want to use that word because then you start thinking about it, right? And then let's not go there. Man, it's tough. Green Bay should be 10-6 to 11-5-ish, in my humble opinion. They're most likely to win the division. Not because I want them to, but I mean, the Vikings have holes. The Detroit Lions have holes. And the Chicago Bears aren't even close to competing yet. If the Chicago Bears compete this season, that would be the story. That would be the story of the year. And every now and then there is a team like that emerges out of absolutely nowhere. Heck, the 2012 Vikings. Did anybody see them making the playoffs, going 10-6 that year? No. With Christian Bleepin Ponder at quarterback, that was quite the shocker there. And then you got, of course, Joe Webb in there. That was great because the bruised shoulder, or bruised arm, whatever it was, bruised bicep. That was cute. And he couldn't complete a pass for his life in Lambeau Field. Right now, I have to pick Green Bay to win the division. 10-6, 11-5. You got to have that flexibility, that game difference, because that's just how it goes. I think the Vikings are at this point 9-7, 10-6. Again, anything could happen. One of these teams could go 12-4, 11-5, and win the division. But I'm not going to pick any of them to go 12-4 right now. Green Bay at best will be 11-5. The Vikings right now, I think high end 10-6, low, it's moderate kind of medial finish. We'll say 9-7, and anything below that, I think Spielman's chances of being fired are very, very high. I think we could be looking for a new general manager should the Vikings have a subpar season and miss the postseason again. Like 500 or lower, I think Rick Spielman is gone, in my humble opinion. Aaron Rodgers is still, as much as I hate him, as big of a jerk as he is, anytime somebody drops a pass, he just makes an ass of himself at the player. Brady gets mad, but he doesn't show up he doesn't show up his players as much as I think Rodgers does. I think Rodgers throws his teammates under the bus, and it's not helped over the years. I think that's not helped, but I don't know. That's probably the difference between Rodgers and Brady in some sense. Some of you might be listening to me saying, okay. Right, okay. But that's the way I see it. I mean, I'm calling it as I see it. Hey, I picked the Packers to win the division, so I'm no Kool-Aid drinker, that's for damn sure. And I do not want the Packers to win. The Vikings, Minnesota Vikings, that's our club, the Purple Mafia, or, we're all the Purple Mafia because this is the family. This is the family, right? We're the fan base following this club. The Vikings made some very nice additions this offseason. The Minnesota Vikings, pardon me. I don't want to Red McCombs it and continue to just say Vikings. Latavius Murray. I mean, you think Latavius Murray's an upgrade over Matt Asiata? Yes. He made it look easy, those short yardage situations when he finally got in the bleeping game. Dalvin Cook was a nice shocker. Slipped down close enough to get into the Vikings' range, the trade-up range, and the Vikings made their move. Of course, Joe Mixon off to Cincy, Cook to Minnesota. Mixon did go 48th, but not to the Vikings. Mike Remmers looks not very good. Obviously, he was cut from the Vikings training camp in 2013. Wasn't real good. He was okay in Carolina, but they weren't too heartbroken seeing him go. Michael Floyd is a nice wild card, but he's going to have to miss the first 4 games. So you're not going to really see any significant name get cut from the Vikings wide receiver core for a while, at least until Floyd comes back. Then a decision will have to be made on a wide receiver or possibly a special teams player out there. Case Keenum is a nice addition. I mean, I liked what I saw from him in the preseason. I did. He is a backup quarterback, though, of course. I'm not saying Case Keenum should be a starting quarterback in this league, but he's capable of starting when he has to. I like Case Keenum. Nice addition by Rick Spielman and the Minnesota Vikings front office. Michael Floyd has the skill to be at least a really good number 3 wide receiver for the Vikings. When you get to see Laquan Treadwell actually play, he looks better. He looks like he belongs a little tiny bit, and that's nice. Dayton Jones was added as well in the offseason from Green Bay to add to that defensive line rotation. And, of course, Riley Reif finally got to play in the 3rd game of the preseason, and he was okay. He was all right, but the pass rush, the pass protection has not been good. The run protection has been okay, has been better. Obviously, Dalvin Cook shows signs that he's going to be a star running back in this league. A superstar, a legend like Adrian Peterson potentially could like Adrian Peterson has been looked at. Of course, it's debated because of the fumbling and the one-dimensional style of Adrian Peterson. He doesn't receive, he doesn't block, and he's not a 3-down back in the NFL. And that's where the frustration is with Adrian Peterson, and that's what could separate him from being a first ballot Hall of Famer to being a tiny bit later. Dalvin Cook is an everything running back. And, of course, Latavius Murray gives you that 3rd down running back the Vikings did not have last year. Matt Asiata had the power. The offensive line sucked and all that, but Matt Asiata did not have the skills of Latavius Murray. I think Murray's more valuable. Obviously, both of them can block a little bit. Both of them can catch the pass and all that. So you got the versatility between both Matt Asiata and Murray, but I think Murray is a little bit quicker than Matt Asiata. I mean, I think I'm quicker than Matt Asiata. So that tells you something. Of course, now I do have quick feet, and I was a good basketball player in my day. I still can play a little bit, but at 38, I'm kind of, I don't know about that. Yeah, but that's basketball, not football. Football, yeah, get the stretcher out. If you put me out there at running back right now, get that stretcher ready because I'm going to need it. So, yeah, let's leave that alone. Latavius Murray is a better running back than Matt Asiata, bottom line. And Dalvin Cook, well, Adrian Peterson, I don't know. Is the guy done or what the hell? He looked like dog doogie in the little time he was out there. And, of course, he got hurt right away. So you couldn't even get a chance to gauge where Adrian Peterson was in his career. Also because the offensive line sucked so hard. What are you going to do? It was just like boulders coming at you if you're a running back last year. If we can at least have a mediocre offensive line going into the season, and maybe it's going to have to be slightly under mediocre, but better than last year at very least. Dalvin Cook's patience and, the quick feet and the little tiny bit more east-west style than Adrian Peterson, waiting for the hole a little bit more, could end up being massive upgrades at the running back position here. A guy, at least he's younger, at least you're not worried that he's going to get hurt immediately, and you pray to God he's not another fumbler. The images you see, Dalvin Cook, he's holding the ball with two hands. Thank you. Just hold the ball with two hands. That's a start, right? The image I'm looking at right now, Dalvin Cook is holding the ball with two hands. What a concept. What a concept. Adrian, enough for the style points and hang on to the bleeping ball, right? Please? Latavius, like they say on KFAN. Yeah, that was kind of silly. But nice upgrades there. That's what helps the Vikings' chances here. And again, the offensive line, just, you got to have some running game. You had none. You had zero running game. Now let's get to the loss. Of course, Adrian Peterson off to the New Orleans Saints. The Captain Morgan Munnerlyn off to Carolina. Once again, he is on his way out. That's a loss. That's a significant loss because the Vikings secondary looks pretty bad right now. Harrison Smith, obviously, is one of the elite safeties in the NFL. But since the Detroit game last year when he made the mistake along the way, I don't know. I'm not real happy with Harrison Smith since then. Why is this room so quiet? Am I hearing crickets? Did the temperature just drop about 10 degrees? Yeah, I've not been real happy with Harrison Smith the last, several months here. And, obviously the preseason, you're trying not to get hurt more than anything. You'll at least get in shape, kind of get in, get your timing back. They're in shape. This isn't 1965, so I hope they're in shape. But, the secondary looks awful so far, to be quite honest. So Captain Munnerlyn, a significant loss. Mackenzie Alexander, a guy I just loved coming out of college, out of Clemson. National runner-up and one of the best cornerbacks in college. A lot of us thought he could have even gone in the first round. Sebastian Barton out there thought he could have dropped into the third or lower. I know he wasn't too high on him. And Sebastian, so far, well, you've been right. I don't know. He hasn't been that good. And he's had to replace Captain Munnerlyn since that took place, since Munnerlyn went back to Carolina. And this is your chance, Mackenzie Alexander. We didn't take you in the second round to be a bust. Damn it. So, obviously Mike Zimmer loved him very much coming in. Since then, not so much. You taunt the receiver in the fourth game of the preseason, and why Mackenzie Alexander is in the fourth game of the preseason in the first place is a sign that things aren't going well with him and Coach Zimmer at this stage. Zimmer's not been happy with him. And then you get flagged for taunting, which puts the Miami Dolphins at first and goal. Really? Really, Mackenzie? So, another guy you want to say really who is Matt Khalil. Obviously, the injuries and the playing hurt. And I don't know. It just seemed like the guy never was 100%. And the guy, if he was mentally 100%, if he was physically 100%, he wasn't mentally 100%. And if he was mentally 100%, which probably was never, he wasn't physically 100%. So most of the time he was neither. And of course, you're never going to be 100% physically because it's the NFL. But for crying out loud, the guy was always checked out. Matt Khalil deserved to be in the top 5 about as much as I did. Okay, maybe not quite that bad, but Lord have mercy, Matt Khalil. Heartbreaking, but off he goes to Carolina to join Captain Munnerlyn. I'm sure Munnerlyn's real happy to have him there. Darrell Patterson off to the Oaktown Raiders. Good on him, very much so. Andre Smith, well, yeah, that didn't work out either. And Charles Johnson was not that good. I'm sorry, Sebastian. I know you liked him, but I don't know. But then again, look at the guy I was putting against Charles Johnson, Jarius Wright. I like him, but he just was the odd man out because just their other guys were better, like Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, and such. Obviously, Jarius Wright much more limited being a slot receiver, and Adam Thielen kind of took that and ran with it literally, and that put the Vikings in wonderful shape. The Vikings should be. They're going to have a winning record this year. I mean, they have to be better than 8-8, right? And I know they started 5-0, and that kind of bolstered that. But I don't think they're 3-8 level. Like the second half of the season last year. I don't think they're 3-8. I don't think they're going to be like that again. 9-7, 10-6 ish. Anything below 9-7, and I think heads, at least one of the big heads is going to roll. Maybe multiple. 6-10 season, it's over, Johnny, and we're getting a new coach and a new GM if they're 6-10, unless it's like 3 or 4 people get hurt and there's nothing you can do. That's kind of what happened to John Fox over the course of time, where the team just did not even, you had injuries and you had a quarterback that just wasn't up to par. Plus, he was always hurt as well. So that's kind of what happened with the Bears. That's why Fox is still a coach, basically. That just kind of is what it is there. Vikings will finish 9-7, 10-6-ish. I'm going to stick with 9-7 at this stage. Third place, they'll be neck and neck with Detroit, so you got to beat Detroit. You got to hope to God you can sweep Detroit next year, and pray to God you do. You don't get swept. Like, just bring the guy down. Matthew Stafford, you have him in the grips. Bring him down, please. Just bring him bleeping down. That's all I ask. Vikings defensive line should be fantastic once again this year, and that's going to be one of the major keys. Obviously, the improved running game. And, when you have as many talented wide receivers as this team does, you don't have Julio Jones here. I get that. But you have, what? You have like 6 receivers that can play. So there's no excuse. There is no excuse for this offense to not be better than last season. And if it isn't, you better get those suitcases packed because it's time to look for a new place to live, Mr. Rick Spielman and maybe Zimmer. I don't know. That's where things stand as far as I'm concerned. The hot seat is hot right now. It really is. No excuse. So, again, we talked about the positions, all that, in the previous segment. So I'm not going to go back into that again. I almost kind of did right now. So it just kind of is what it is there. Let's get to the NFL preview, the National Football League preview. In terms of, I'm not going to go over team by team, but let's go to the NFC. Yes, Julian Edelman is out for the season with an ACL, and that really sucks. That really, really sucks. I like the Patriots. They're my second favorite team. All of you know that. At least most of you know that. But the Patriots are still the Patriots, and I think they're still good enough to go back to go back to the AFC title game. Why shouldn't the Patriots find a way to get back to the AFC title game once again? Why not? Why the hell not? The other team that that should have been in the AFC title game last year, and they will be this year for sure, in my humble opinion, provided there isn't kind of an unseen drop off, which would really be depressing. Oaktown Raiders, the soon-to-be Las Vegas Raiders. They're going to win. Yeah, they're going to win the AFC West. They're going to win. They're going to get back to the. They're going to get through the AFC title game for the first time in many years since the Chucky days, the good old Chucky days. The Oakland Raiders are going to have a playoff run this year, and they just might be in Minneapolis. It's going to be between New England and the Oakland Raiders. Is New England ready to go back to back for the first time since? What was it when they beat the Carolina Panthers and then the Philadelphia Eagles? Are the Patriots ready to do that? I don't see why not. But at the same time, Oakland is going to pose a pretty good threat. Now they have Cordell Patterson. Ooh, that's the last one right there. The Vikings hopefully have a Cordell Patterson and one of those 2 young receivers. And, of course, Marcus Sherrills will continue to be the punt returner. He's either going to make a fair catch or go all the way. That's pretty much what Marcus Sherrills does, or have a very putrid little return. It's either great or nothing with Marcus Sherrills, but it's the great thing that keeps him coming back, right? Because he can really take it all the way. Well, Cordell Patterson's going to be a little piece for those Oakland Raiders. Well, as Derek Carr is ready to rock and roll once again, I don't see why the Oakland Raiders shouldn't win their division, as good as it is. And yes, the Los Angeles Chargers now with their nice little lightning bolt in L.A. The L.A. Chargers are back in town. The L.A. Chargers are back in town, just like the L.A. Rams. Kansas City is a threat. Obviously, they're, to me, probably the third team in the AFC right now, but they never win anything. I mean, they just don't. And you know, I don't trust Kansas City. And Denver, I don't think so. You know, I don't see it right now. The Denver Broncos going back to the AFC title game. I don't think so. I mean, they were only 9-7 last year. They can and should improve on that. Dolphins had an impressive little finish last year. I don't know if they're ready to do that, but they did beat the hell out of the Vikings, of course, in the fourth game of the preseason. Kansas City and Oakland were back and forth last year, but it didn't help that Derek Carr got hurt. Oakland probably should have been 13-3, 14-2 last year. But Derek Carr getting hurt, I mean, that's kind of all she wrote there, and that's a shame for the Oakland Raiders. They would have been 13-3 when you look at things there. Kansas City, obviously very good, but Alex Smith is the quarterback. I mean, yeah, you got Patrick Mahomes there, but he's a rookie. I mean, do you really think a rookie's going to take him all the way? I doubt it. Pittsburgh's always looming, but I think Oakland's better. I mean, I just think Oakland's better than Pittsburgh. I think they're the rising team in the AFC. They're the next team in the AFC right now. Currently, they are the next club. The current team in the AFC is New England, and they're the emperors of the AFC. They're not just the best team in the AFC, they're the emperors. I mean, they are the reigning dynasty of the AFC. New England should win the AFC again. Julian Edelman is a huge loss, but the Patriots always find a way. They just find a way. I don't think they're going to be 14-2 again, but 12-4ish. And I think the Patriots are probably going to pay a visit to downtown Minneapolis. That's my guess right now. Oakland's going to put up a hell of a fight. They just maybe they will go all the way because New England isn't. You know, usually if New England doesn't win the Super Bowl, they lose in the AFC title game, right? That's usually what happens. So maybe this is the year for Oakland. Right now, I'm leaning New England, but very slightly getting to downtown Minneapolis. It was easy to pick those teams, kind of, but then, you know, I mean, it's easy to pick New England to go there, and then you remember, yeah, what about Oakland? So, what about the Oakland Raiders? Why shouldn't they go back? Oakland soon to be Las Vegas Raiders. Not Los Angeles again. Screw that. Stop moving it back to L.A., everybody. The Cowboys, well, they should be good again. I mean, they should. The New York Giants were 11-5 last year. That was impressive, and it was kind of shocking to see them lose so early in the playoffs last year because they're the Giants. But I don't know. That's what happens, though, when Tom Coughlin's not there. Mr. Red-Faced himself out there in the cold. Seattle's looming. God, I hate them. God, I hate Seattle, but they're looming. God, I hate the Cowboys, but they're looming. God, I hate Green Bay, but they're looming. Doesn't that just make you sick? My three least favorite teams in the NFL, the history of football, and you could even say Atlanta, because I hate Atlanta because of 98. They're fun to watch, though, kind of, sort of, and I love Julio Jones, but oof. Okay, I hate the Saints more than Atlanta because it's a lot more recent, so yeah, it's about 11 years more recent, so yeah, maybe I should get over the Atlanta one, kind of, sort of, get over it. Cowboys should be back, though. I mean, they have all the same pieces. They should go back to... They should actually freaking get to the NFC title game this time. I mean, they've been chokers in the playoffs. For the longest time, they were a serious playoff team that would go all the way and win it. But I don't know, other than those magical seasons, they've been massive playoff chokers. And I guess that's been a good thing to watch. The Cowboys should be a bye club. They will have a bye this year again, and if they don't, I'd be pretty surprised. If they don't, I mean, maybe the Giants, I guess. Obviously, you have that, what's his name, old crazy, he's lucky he didn't get hurt really bad there. Beckham there with the Giants. Washington looms a little bit, but Philadelphia, well, I don't know. Man. I don't know about Philadelphia. I don't think so. Arizona, well, I mean, your quarterback's old. He's been hurt so many times. And, man, I like Arizona. I like them, but I don't know. Obviously, the Rams and the San Francisco 49ers are not ready to do jack, in my humble opinion. Why would I pick the Rams or the Niners to do much? Okay, the Niners are going to be kind of like the Bears in terms of they're going to have an improved record. But that's about it. I mean, you're just going to get a little bit better, kind of jump a little closer, so that's where I stand with that. Atlanta should still be really good, but there's always the Super Bowl, the team that lost the Super Bowl, there's always that hangover, unfortunately for them. But Tampa Bay is one of those teams. They're one of those teams that could go on a serious run. They might even win their division this year. Winston over there in Tampa Bay is the straw that stirs the drink. I mean, he's fantastic. Tampa Bay, they have a nice running game. They have the defense has been all right, definitely, to say the least. They had the best. They were definitely the stingiest team in the division, behind Atlanta and Carolina. They were better. They had stingier defense there. Their offense, well, it's just getting started. So they had the least amount of points, but you know they're coming. And when they come, here comes the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't like Tampa Bay either, but then again, I kind of like them now. I hated them when they were in our division, the Vikings, and yeah, it drove me absolutely nuts. They used to always screw up the Vikings season. Like they'd have this good record, and then the Bucs come into town or whatever, and we freaking lose to them. No matter like their first win of the season or something, and then the Vikings like aspirations of being the top team in the NFC kind of go up in smoke real quickly as they continue to lose after that. Green Bay, man, it was nice to see them down last year, but 6-game win streak, they might have gone all the way, and they didn't because Atlanta showed up to play in that game, so they really did. Atlanta should still be a threat. I think they still make the playoffs, but I think Tampa Bay is the most dangerous team in that division. You know, you could say any one of the teams in the NFC South could go really far, maybe even all the way to the Super Bowl, because Carolina obviously was fantastic a few years ago. I don't know. Cam Newton, I kind of don't think they will, though. Even though they're dangerous, I don't think they will. They'll be in the hunt, and you know what that means. So you're still hanging around in November, December. Carolina may or may not make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to go super far. That's just my guess. The team that's most likely to go on a playoff run in the NFC South is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at this point. They're a very popular team right now in the whole what just happened? Oh, don't you just hate that? Yeah, there it is. The most popular. They're one of the popular preseason favorites here coming into this thing. A lot of people think they might get to downtown Minneapolis. God, right now I'm leaning Seattle winning the NFC. I really would hate to see that. I mean, they have the best defense, bar none. The Vikings did acquire a cornerback from Seattle. We talked about that in the first segment. Probably trying to light a fire under Mackenzie Alexander. Boy, can you imagine that? No. 7th-round pick traded away for him. So, I don't know. Right now I'm leaning Seattle. I don't trust Dallas. Seattle has done it already. Green Bay has done it, but I don't think they're good enough to go that far. Seattle will be in the NFC title game. We'll say that much. And why does the Rams keep flashing from Los Angeles to LA Rams? That was funny. That was kind of funny. Seattle versus Tampa. Oh, that's a weird one. Yeah, I'm going to go with Seattle-Tampa. That's what's flashing in my eyes right now. Seattle versus Tampa. God, I want it to be Minnesota. I want it to be like a top team in the NFC. Not only does the road to the Super Bowl go through Minneapolis, but the Super Bowl is also in Minneapolis. Home field advantage throughout the playoffs into the Super Bowl. That's a dream, and it's a wonderful dream, but oftentimes it's just too good to be true, and right now that's where I'm leaning. I really want the Vikings to make a playoff run and go all the way, even if they have to be that miracle road team like a New York Giants, and then you get the most positive, happy finish of all time. Maybe Teddy Bridgewater will come back, and he'll be a hero, and the happiest ending of all time will happen with Bridgewater hoisting the trophy. That's the happiest scenario I could possibly imagine. Even though I do like Sam Bradford and I appreciate what he does bring. But Bridgewater, there's just a little bit something else with him, I think. Right now, I mean, I don't trust Dallas. I think they're going to have they're going to have a bye, and either Seattle or Tampa will have the other one. And either Seattle or Tampa, the one that doesn't get the bye, is going to beat Dallas. That's my humble opinion on the road. Seattle or Tampa will beat the Cowboys on the road and get to the NFC title game. And then right now, I think the bleeping Sea Chickens will be in the Super Bowl in a rematch against New England. And I don't know. No, Tampa. I don't know. Shoot, I don't want Seattle to win the Super Bowl, boy. No. I'm almost leaning like a rematch of the 2002 Super Bowl. I'm almost kind of going that way. I want to have some fun here. Tampa versus Oakland in the Super Bowl. Tampa versus Oakland in the Super Bowl, and the Raiders win. The Raiders are going to win the Super Bowl this year. Downtown Minneapolis. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be Seattle. I think Tampa Bay is going to the Super Bowl, but they will not win. Derek Carr will be hoisting Lombardi in downtown Minneapolis. You're going to see the black and silver. They will be wearing the darker colors. They will win the Super Bowl in downtown Minneapolis. That's my humble opinion at this stage. Oakland Raiders will beat Tampa in a pretty damn good game. It'll be high scoring. It'll be epic. But the Raiders will be the better team. They'll be a little bit, obviously the quarterback's a little more established, as good as as good as the youngster at Tampa is. The Oakland Raiders will win the Super Bowl this year. Whoa, that kind of came up, and that's usually it's just I just get this vibe, and I grabbed it this time. I grabbed it. Tampa versus Oakland. The Raiders win in downtown Minneapolis. All right, let's hear from Brent Jacobson, who will lead off the fan interaction through the voicemail, and in we go to Facebook and Twitter.
Messages for Purple Mafia and Joey White. Hey, Brent Jacobson here. Redo from last night. My fat cheek must have hit the FaceTime button on my phone and goofed it all up. So, take two. We're in the 49ers game. First team offense, didn't look so hot. I know it's preseason, but makes me a little bit nervous once the real bullets start flying. Defense got ungashed by Brian freaking Hoyer. WTF. And something called Mostert. Who is he? Last take on continuing on a game. Second team, Keenum and Heineke are pretty decent, albeit against backups. Dude, how about that finish? Taylor Heineke may probably save himself a roster spot. Lastly, if any of y'all haven't had a chance yet, and you get the chance, go experience a game at US Bank Stadium. If you experience a game at the Dome or the old Met or the Gopher Stadium, this is like 10 times better. The stadium's beautiful. Sea of purple, so it makes it even more beautiful. And I'm saying that because I actually went to the game Sunday night. So in closing, Skull Vikings, keep up the good work, Joey, and I'll catch you later.
And I thank you for that call, Brent. Awesome call. You're a star candidate, and you always are, my friend. Brent out of Lakeville, Minnesota there. Absolutely. He works a lot of security jobs, as does Sebastian Balls in the Twin Cities, and Mankato a lot in Sebastian's case. He worked in the Twin Cities as well, but Brent Jacobson kind of all over the place. Yep. And, yeah, he is called in many times, and I appreciate it so much. Keep him coming, Brent. Thank you again for the encouragement on keep up the good work. Thank you for that. I completely feel your concerns. I share them, as you've probably heard in the previous segments as well. Obviously, you sent your call before this show, but you get the idea. The previous show, you heard the concerns as well. The defensive line looks good. It's the secondary that doesn't look good, and obviously, they keep Sam Bradford from getting stuck on his back and everything. And yeah, I can't wait to get to US Bank Stadium at some point very soon. I wish I got to see the old Met. For those of you that did, I envy you, because you got to see a lot of history back in the day. And, of course, I was at the Metrodome many, many, many times for the Twins and the Vikings alike. So, awesome call, Brent, and I pretty much will let you have the floor there. I share a lot of your concerns, though. I really do, for those of you that heard what he had to say there. Absolutely. Let's get to the Twitter account at Purple Mafia, or is it Purple Mafia Show? It's at Purple Mafia Show. Duh. At Purple Mafia Show. Mad Martin makes his return. Mad Martin's Mad Takes, not recorded this time, but on Twitter. I didn't respond. I thought I did. I get so locked up. I get so distracted. Like, I'm usually at work when I get the tweets, and then I don't respond in time. He says, yeah, podcast will be catching up on that today. Good work, my man, and thank you very much, Dave Martin, out of Northern Scotland there. Give him a follow. It is at Leurbost Viking. It's Leurbost Viking. Give him a follow. He's fun, fun guy, and good guy to talk with out of Northern Scotland. And he has won the Gold Star of the Year award in 2015. Just outstanding. Silver Star last year. He's that good. Oh, just awesome. Can't wait to hear your audio again. Matt Martin continues saying, watch that third game over 2 days at 14 zip, turned off. Yep, and watched in 40 minutes the next day. That O-line does not feel me. And absolutely, they look pretty bad in the third game. They look good in the second game. But bad overall. Danny Isidore is a guy that I still like. And, Riley Reef, I mean, such a small sample size, it's hard to even say at this point. I don't know. It didn't look good. It just didn't. And, of course, Alex Boone, part of the problem, and he's gone, unfortunately, for him. Final tweet here is, confidence, is it going to be yet another year of frustration? I'm kind of leaning that way, yeah, as you heard in segment number 2 there, Dave. 9-7, 10-6. I'm not going any higher right now. I don't feel it. And if it changes, great. That would be wonderful. But right now, I don't know. I mean, there's indicators that certain things aren't getting better right now. The O-line's not much better, maybe slightly, and the secondary is worse. So I don't know. If Treadwell ends up being this unseen, talented receiver that we didn't see last year, that would help. Diggs needs to be healthier than last year. That would help. Thielen needs to keep up the good work, maybe even improve even more. That would really help. We could go on forever. Coley and Adams, will they be valuable pieces? McKinnon, can he be that nice special teamer? The most encouraging piece right now, other than hopefully the offensive line is better, is the running back position. Because, well, this isn't a knock at Adrian Peterson, even though, yes, he did, as I did say in the second segment as well, he was one-dimensional and all that, which was frustrating, but he also was out for the year, too, for the most part, out for most of the year. But no, all three of these guys are versatile. They can catch, they can run, and they can block. McKinnon maybe not so much because he's small, but at least he can make up for it with special teams play, which I believe he will be excellent at. I like McKinnon as a special teamer. I really do, and that'll keep him in the league for many years, I think, if he wants it. Stay in the league, Mr. McKinnon. We love you, and stay in purple. Please do. Let's get to the Facebook page. Now, it was at Purple Mafia Show for Twitter. This information and all of the above will be in the show description. Please do join MN Vikings Haven on Facebook. Trevor Wickerin, kind enough to allow me to post links to Purple Mafia on the page, even if Alex Murray likes to post some dorky little thing at the bottom, which quickly was hidden. I don't know. I don't know why he posted that, other than whatever. I don't know. Some people are just trolls, so they can just continue to be that because, I don't know, because maybe they didn't do the show or one of their close friends didn't do it, so it must suck. Yeah, it just must suck, even though you probably never heard 1 second of it. Okay, let's continue. Continuing off of the last show, episode number 243, Justin Mayer Henry says, nice. I know what I'll be listening to at work in the morning, and thank you, Justin, very much. Justin out of Colorado. 2016 Gold Star of the Year award winner. Mark Carlson, 2012 Gold Star of the Year award winner out of Iowa, says, I listened to the podcast during breakfast today. Great show. Love the way it is presented. I hope you do score another advertising contract. That's, again, I'd like to get Castle Danger out of Two Harbors, Minnesota. Oh, if anybody's listening from up there, please help me out. That would be great. He says, I enjoyed the Tall Grass advertisements and I discovered a wonderful beer. And yes, it is. They've gotten a little weird, though, Tall Grass. They're getting weird. Like, Zombie Monkey's gone. Why? Why would you get rid of Zombie Monkey? Ethos, gone. Why? Ethos and Zombie Monkey were excellent. In fact, they were the two highest rated beers on Beer Advocate and, what was the other one? RateBeer.com. Why would you get rid of the highest rated ones? And they deserve to be the highest rated. Buffalo Sweat's a mainstay, still around. Good. 8-Bit's fun and an interesting one. And that's still around. But, man, and then you bring in, like, raspberry jam, blueberry jam. I haven't had them yet, but I don't know. And key lime pie was good. Kind of weird, but still kind of good. Just out there. It's like they want all these out there kind of beers. Now, strawberry shortcake? Strawberry shortcake. I don't know. I'm not, like, against it. It's interesting, but it seems like it's almost more like a chick's beer company to me. And that's not a knock at women or anything. It's just, I don't know. I guess it's like chick's beer, like, because it's like fruit, kind of tastes like, you know, like a fruit-style beer. Nothing against anybody. It's just different. Why would you get rid of Ethos? You can have the strawberry shortcake, but don't kill Ethos. That's all. I mean, come on. Okay, let's continue. Sorry about that. I got sidetracked, and I had a feeling I would be when I read that. He says, perhaps without an endorsement from the show, I may not have ever tried it. See, that's the thing. I helped Tallgrass. I helped you. So, and it's not like they got rid of me. It's the guy that I was working with got laid off because they've made a lot of weird changes. They laid off a ton of people and changed everything, the whole face of the company, except the owner, pretty much. I don't know what the point of that was, and it's gotten weird. So, I don't know. Not the first time things have gotten weird at companies, so certainly not the last either. He says, one more thought. The team seemed to lack confidence in themselves as a team all season last year, even early on when they had the nice win streak going on. Whatever was the issue, I hope they are long over it this season and play on a higher level like they are all paid to do. Yeah. No more excuses. Mark from Iowa. I hope so, Mark. I really do. And you're a star candidate. I freaking hope so. Star candidates so far, Brent Jacobson and Mark Carlson. I hope so. I mean, I don't know. Mark says, because I apologize because I didn't get around to it sooner, that comment. It's like I didn't even see it. I don't know what happened. Mark says, hey, I love the podcast, and it's not about me or what I said or what I'm saying, but about the team. And listening to your perspective and those of other listeners really helps me to better understand the team and the game. Skull. And thank you very much, Mark. Gerald out of Nebraska, 2014 Gold Star of the Year winner. See, I always announce it like that, don't I? When I first say their name. He says, thanks for the show and the star, Joey. Yep, we got a star last week. Says, was excited when I saw the new show was out because that came out of nowhere. Yep, he said, it always makes my day. Thank you very much, Gerald. And apparently Gerald's been listening to since 09-ish. I mean, way back when I had the cheap little, the cheap microphone. Way back when things were a little funny. But I suppose late 09 I upgraded to the M-Audio microphone. So let's continue. He says, I try not to take too much stock in the preseason, but the third game was supposed to be the closest to the real thing, and, well, yuck. And, yeah, it was yuck until the backups saved the day. Fumbles, stumbles, sacks, blown coverages, and first 3 series at home on national television. Yeah, that was Sunday Night Football. Yikes, I hope it gets a little better than this. Only bright spot I can remember is Treadwell actually acted like he was part of the game plan on a few plays, so hoping he gets it going, and like you hoping, yeah, he's like I am hoping that Floyd can stay off the sauce. Looks like he could still be the real deal after the suspension is done. Awesome job as usual. Thank you very much, Gerald. I hope so with Floyd. I mean, that's a big deal. Talk about a nice addition. I mean, wow. I mean, you have 6 receivers that can all play. And, well, 6 receivers, that's maybe Floyd versus Jarius Wright. And even Wright can play. It's just, unfortunately, he's kind of reduced and limited and all that. Where Floyd obviously has the talent to be a pretty damn good player in this league. 3rd or 4th receiver at a bare minimum, and you still got Coley and Adams who are quirky and interesting. Vikings versus 49ers game thread. Let's look around in that for a second. A little bit busy, back and forth. I was kind of going back and forth. I was mad about Smith. Sebastian Barton says 3rd and 9, and we throw a 1-yard route. Sick of this coaching staff. And Sebastian getting very, very frustrated indeed. I believe he still hosts the Purple Press Box. Do look it up on Spreaker. It's Speaker with an R. Spreaker. Get that app if you could on your Apple and Android devices. Look up the Purple Press Box if it's still on there. I think it is. I mean, he kind of disappeared for a while there when he got with his new fiance here. Congratulations to Sebastian and Amber there. Very cool. Yep, Cedric Paulding out of Mississippi. And he says, Vikes definitely aren't looking impressive at all tonight. I hope Zimmerman gets this fixed in a hurry. And yeah, Zimmer. Oh, you mean Zimmer, but yeah, it's okay. Gets it fixed in a hurry. It might have been his cell phone or something. Yeah, I hear you. And you notice how I keep going, yeah, because there is a lot of during the preseason. It wasn't pretty at all, Cedric. And you saw, I saw, and yeah. It's just, you're just kind of left with, I hope so. Because you don't want to put a lot of stock in the preseason, but sometimes there's indicators. Like when a group of players, like the offensive line or the secondary, looks terrible, oftentimes that kind of bleeds into the regular season, and that kind of is what it is, because if it's a whole unit. If the whole unit is sucking, you might be in trouble. Sometimes just in general, the team might be just kind of playing not to get hurt in the preseason, and there may have been a little bit of that with the secondary, and I hope that's the case. The offensive line, we saw it coming the last couple of years. It just looked like dog dookie, and it continued to be dog dookie, especially last season. Brett McCarthy says defense is turning to play, and yes, they were. Offense is picking it up. Diggs was dropping balls. Yep, and he did drop one, and Treadwell looked okay. Yep. Says they better get the O-line that played last week out there. That was week 2. Yep, we had a good conversation back and forth, and a nice play by Rodney Adams. Big catch and nice move and all that, and he got into the end zone, and that was nice. He was saying it was a good play, but they seem to be out of sync and way too many mistakes. Do you think Jared is out at running back? And that was Jerick. I was thinking no, but now he still had value, and it was immediately after that McKinnon took the ball to the house, and that again proves his worth because I think he's going to be a special teams guy, and I want him to be on the special teams. Brett McCarthy agrees. He was continuing to say, and yeah, Brett McCarthy was a Silver Star winner last year. That's a big deal. He says we are deep on the defensive side, though. Your thoughts on any trades for all linemen? Not yet. We made a trade for a secondary player, but as of right now, offensive line, it's kind of tough. I mean, you know what it's like with offensive linemen? It's you get gold or you get garbage. You know, copyright Jermaine Wiggins. There's gold and there's garbage. You know, there's not much in between. And at this time of year, I don't think anybody's going to trade away a good offensive lineman because they're gold. The good ones are gold and everyone else isn't. And it's different. It's not like wide receivers where occasionally this guy's maybe not getting the chance he deserves, and wow, now he's getting the ball and he's actually pretty good and he deserves it. But that's especially in fantasy football. Kickers, it's like you can pick a guy up and bam, he's the best kicker in football. And it's just a random guy who, you know, maybe had limited action in college. Like maybe he only kicked for like 2 years and he just kind of was red shirt or something other than that, or was out for the season or God knows what. Reggie Adams was saying how the backups were showing up. That was the 49ers game. I didn't even put one up for the Dolphins game, did I? I thought I did. I think I did, but if I didn't, shame on me. I thought I did. Oh, my God, I'm losing my mind. He said, I had to watch it on DVR. The O-line is still suspect at best. A lot of starters playing till the half. Was nice to see. They really gave Treadwell some touches, and the ending was fun. That was really cool to see the young man run it in there. That was Taylor Heineke up for that gutty drive along the way. Some nice passes. He was able to get away from the pass rush and complete some nice passes. I like Taylor Heineke. I hope he does wind up on the practice squad. It kind of sucks to see him get cut. It's kind of weird. That must mean something's up. I don't know. He said Miami Thursday and then the cut follows. Yep. I didn't put... I thought I did. Maybe I didn't... yeah. No, I didn't. You've got to be kidding me. I think I had it up and I didn't press send or something. You know how you post? What the hell? Oh... I finally changed the background because why am I having the 2015 division champions in the background still? That's kind of dumb. So I got a nice image of the U.S. Bank Stadium in the background. A couple comments in the photo are, well, it's just me and Justin Mayer Henry. Justin Mayer Henry says, paid $100 for Game Pass and it's blacked out, so I have to listen to audio. Blackouts are so stupid. And yes, they are. Blackouts really suck. The first cuts, it was only like a couple guys there. It was at 5 so far. Sebastian Barton was saying, but one of them was Clemens. He said the first player ever to start 30 games in the first 2 years and be cut. Yep. Can you imagine that? TJ on his way out. Reggie Adams was saying how Charmaine Brock was an excellent pickup, and I think so too. Reggie Adams. Reggie Adams had been on with Sebastian Barton at times in the past as well. Ultimately, yeah, I mean, I think so too, Reggie. So that's pretty much it right there. Kind of responding on the fly here. There we go. I was talking about the newest episode will be out, and yep, here you're listening to it now. So aren't you glad? I literally put a separate thread about Mr. Alex Boone getting cut. Matt Emer says, curious. The guy had fight Cedric Paulding. Matt Emer out of the UK, by the way. Cedric Paulding says, why? Ultimately, the reasoning for that is injury concerns, and he just really wasn't playing well at all. So, kind of is what it is, you know. Yeah, unfortunate. I'm kind of going on the fly here. 53-man roster. I posted that. And check for the visitor posts. Other than that, was his Lincoln? How was the play, right? Yeah, that's what it felt like. Keenum looking good. That was Mark Carlson at the time. I think I read that out. Yep, he was very impressed in that second game of the preseason. Or was it the first game, actually? Leland Albertson out of Iowa posted an article a little bit after the last show saying how Vikings were getting better, getting back to health, correcting mistakes, and that was good. It was out of CBS Sports, and thank you for the post, Leland. Keep them coming. If you find a nice article, don't be afraid to post it on Purple Mafia. Really appreciate it. And anybody out there that thinks I don't appreciate, like say Ali Sidikai, if you're listening, you're more than welcome to post your articles on my Facebook page, without a doubt. Really appreciate it. So thanks again. It's Facebook.com/Purple Mafia for this one. The other one is MN Vikings Haven for Trevor Wickeran's page there on Facebook. I want to thank all of you very much. Again, there's multiple ways to get on the show. Apparently the calling line still works just fine. So Dylan sent it right to me right away. So apparently it's still very much there, and I appreciate Dylan very much. Dylan Richardson. I was just kind of getting a different thought there about Timberwolves Explosion. That show, yeah, I mean, there was some news about that one the last week or so. At some point, we'll be joining the Courtside Network. I'll still be probably posting it on the sportstuff.com, though, but still, it's just that'll bring in some more Australian listeners for that show, even though it gets quite a few, and I appreciate you guys so much. Vince Germano and Tanae Brown and many others. Tanae's actually from New Zealand, but similar part of the world, we'll say, similar hemisphere and all that. Thank you guys so much. To get on the show, just like Brent did, it's 209-736-7877, 209-736-7877. It is a voicemail. Do treat it as such. Imagine you're calling in for the Purple Mafia show, or like, hey, Joey, Purple Mafia, whatever, like Brent did. That was excellent and appreciated always. That's the phone number. Then there's the call now button on the Facebook page, which goes to the same line right away. Just a one-click, boom, you're there. Same thing. It's about, I think the limit is 3 to 5 minutes for that phone line. And then there's the audio submission route where you use the free voice recorder on your phone. You can treat it exactly like a phone recorder. You can treat it exactly like a phone call, is what I'm trying to say. And keep it to about 5 minutes. You know, and some of you maybe even 10. I don't know if you really, really want to, but probably during game weeks, I'd say keep it to 5 maximum, just because what if more than one person calls? It could drag for really long. So just for the sake of time, all that. So, I mean, not that I'm against it, but yeah, 5 minutes is a while, and I'll give you the floor, and you enjoy every second of it. You're more than welcome to do that. Email that to paladinolive@yahoo.com, paladinolive@yahoo.com. You just simply save it and then email it. You can use a cut and paste, because I will put everything, all this information in the show description, so if you want to just simply cut and paste your recording, you can do it that way, paladinolive@yahoo.com. Once again, thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the season preview as I start my 10th season covering the show. It is absolutely insane that it's been that many. I've had many years where I get frustrated, discouraged, maybe lack of downloads, this and that. Seem like nobody ever notices me here in this town. It gets frustrating. And, those of you out there, you've kept me going, and I appreciate you very much. And it's crazy to imagine it's been that long already. Man, 10 years ago, I was getting on YouTube, talking about Adrian Peterson's first ever touchdown in the NFL. Now here he comes as a New Orleans Saint all these years later. Unbelievable. Well, it's crazy. Please do, if those of you out there that haven't, can you please give a positive rating for Purple Mafia on iTunes? If you want to help the show out, it would help so much. A positive review on iTunes about Purple Mafia. It only helps. And those of you that have already, thank you very, 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 very much. That's about it right now. Enjoy this wonderful weather when you're walking around at the State Fair, if you still are, the next couple of days here on Labor Day weekend, pop in those earphones and listen to Purple Mafia. When you're out there mowing the lawn, get some 3M Tech. They might be a really good sponsor. I was thinking about that the other day. 3M, the little 3M Tech ear protectors, like they're that red. It looks like an earmuff, but you can put your little earphones, your little earbuds, like earbud earphones, underneath them. You put them in your ear like you normally would, and then you get the 3M Tech ear protectors, where it kind of cuts out sound. you could mow the lawn with those on and hear just fine. That's what I do every day. I listen to podcasts every day when I mow lawns, and that's what something you could do, because mowing lawns can get kind of, be tedious and boring, right? But if you're listening to a podcast like this one, or Timberwolves Explosion, Brave the Wild, or God knows what, that's a way to do it, and you'll enjoy it very, very much that way. So that's a possible sponsor one day. They're even local here in Minnesota, so that makes it even better for those of you that would consider going that direction and would say, hey, you need to stay local. Well, that's a way of doing it. That's a really good sponsor idea. If any of you out there listening that work for that company, get a hold of me, please. That would be very, very helpful. Well, everyone, enjoy the nice weather, what's left of it, and all that. At least it's not hot and humid. I'm very happy about that. I just want to thank you again for listening and wish you all a good night, a good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is. And let's get started with some Minnesota Vikings regular season football.